This happened way back. My daughter is 30 now. When I was 18 and in my first year of college, I got pregnant. The father joined the Navy to escape responsibility. My parents, who are strict conservatives except when it's inconvenient, abandoned me and cut me off financially. They wanted me to have an abortion to prevent the loss of my scholarship. That's how I found myself at 18 suddenly and totally responsible for myself and my living situation with no financial or emotional support from anyone. I lived at a private dorm and was befriended by the property manager, Donna. When I told her my situation, she swooped in like a hero and helped me get a place to stay at one of the other properties she managed. I was getting evicted from the dorm. She then helped me get a job at a gift shop at one of those properties. I thought she was the most wonderful person for all of this until her true motives became clear. She wanted to adopt my baby, even though I had expressed no interest in giving my baby up for adoption. After a few weeks of work, she launched a campaign to convince me I was unfit to be a mother and that my baby would be so much better off if I let Donna have it. At first it was subtle, passive-aggressive remarks about how much money she and her husband had, how she couldn't have children herself, how she hoped she was able to adopt one day, and what a wonderful life they would give their baby. But as time passed, her approach became more aggressive and direct. She was always around the shop and would even come to my apartment, ready to point out things I did or didn't do. That proved what a terrible mother I would be. She went into long rants about how awful I was for having a baby without a father, how we'd be welfare trash forever, how God brought her into my life because she was meant to have my baby. It was endless and constant, for months. Sometimes I let her comments upset me and make me wonder if she was right. But in my heart, I knew that I'd be a good mother. For a while, and feeling intimidated, I let myself be bullied into including her in baby-related events. I even let her go with me to the sonogram where I found out my baby was a girl. She was so excited for me. As I got closer to delivering, I got stronger in making clear to Donna that I was not giving up my baby. I tried to avoid Donna as much as I could, but was regularly reminded how much power she had over my living situation. I soon had co-workers telling me she was claiming that my baby's adoption was a done deal. She even told people she was decorating a nursery and buying baby girl clothes. When it became clear that she was not going to change my mind, she started threatening me with eviction from my apartment and firing me from my job. That way, I'd realize how unstable my situation was and recognize I had no business having a baby. And sure enough, I lost my job. She fired me for not wearing my shoes behind the cashier's counter at the gift shop. When I was on my feet all day, my feet would swell right out of my shoes. I'd stayed behind the counter and slip off my shoes for a bit, but never in view of the customers. Still, that was reason enough in Donna's mind to teach me a lesson. It didn't take long after losing my job to also lose my apartment. I ended up couch surfing and even spent some time homeless until I got some housing assistance. In the meantime, I had gone to the EOC and complained, and they helped me mediate with the owners of the gift shop property. As a result, Donna got fired from managing that property, and I got months of back pay and some extra money for my trouble, in exchange for not full-out suing them. This small cash windfall turned out to be a huge blessing that actually enabled me to survive financially until I had my baby and could get back in school. Donna firing me was the best thing that could have ever happened. I saw her years later and she was still childless. Best revenge. My daughter is now getting ready to graduate, full scholarship and magna cum laude, from a top law school. Turns out being raised by a single mom is not as awful as Donna thought. Comment. Whatever happened with your parents? Did they ever meet your daughter? Hopi reply, yes, though not without some pain. My father did not speak to me the entire time I was pregnant. My mother went along with that as well, until my wonderful aunt told her what an ass she was being and how much my mom would miss out on. Mom ended up being my birth coach and, over months, tried to bring my dad to his senses. In the end, all it took was him holding my daughter for the first time and he was absolutely smitten. My daughter was, and still is, the apple of his eye. That's not to say that I was immediately over them abandoning me, but over years we worked it out and have a close relationship now. I tell you one thing, though, I never ever put myself in a position to depend on them or anyone else, for that matter, again. Comment. Did the biological father try coming back to be a part of your daughter's life? OP reply, yes, when my daughter was 8 years old. I had moved back to my hometown by that time and his father owned the local jewelry store. I visited with my daughter, acting like a customer, but the grandfather recognized my daughter immediately. If you put my daughter's photo next to her paternal aunt's photo, you would not be able to tell who was who. And apparently the father had confessed to his family at some point, so they knew my daughter was out there but had no idea how to find us. My daughter's dad had grown up quite a bit in those 8 years. I'm sure the Navy helped. He also has a wife who absolutely would not let him get away with not being part of my daughter's life. She's wonderful, but I never sought child support. After 8 years of being self-reliant, I had no interest in suddenly sharing parenting decisions or visitation with someone else unless it was by my choice. Not asking for child support made this possible, and it worked out well. He and my daughter now have their own relationship, and I hold no grudges. We were stupid kids. Comment. Are you still estranged from your parents? OP reply. It took us a long time, but we worked it out. My daughter brought us back together. Frustratingly, my dad now claims to not remember trying to talk me into having an abortion. He claims it never happened. My mom says he's in denial because he loves my daughter so much and feels guilty. I won't deny that I have some abandonment issues, even at 50, but the whole experience made me strong and overly independent. Comment. When I was pregnant with my first, I had a colleague who had been trying to get pregnant without success. She has recently been told she would need to go through in vitro fertilization, etc. So she was kind of down because of that, but I thought she would be okay with my pregnancy. After all, I'm just a colleague, not her sister or whatever. Girl. She turned out to be a complete nuthead. She was a preacher's daughter and told me how God had made a mistake. He was pointing his power to conceive towards her, but because my desk was next to hers, I received the blessing? Say what? Then she demanded that I stop talking about my pregnancy, which was impossible since at least once a day someone would ask how it was going. She said I should tell people that I'm here to work, not to talk about private matters. Eventually, one day, I'm at home when my phone rings. It's her best friend. She got my number from my colleague's phone when she wasn't watching because she wanted to warn me. My colleague had been telling how much she wished I would lose the baby and that she was fantasizing about getting some rat poison in my coffee. Batshit crazy. I complained with my supervisor. Of course, I should be the one understanding of her feelings, blah blah, so I just called in sick and stretched that for months until I found a better job. What a freaking nightmare. This girl wanted my baby to die in the womb. Comment. People think your situation is so bizarre, but it's exactly what young women who contact an adoption agency go through. They often reach out because they're scared and just want to explore the option. But then the agency latches on and promises them the moon if they'll just let their child be raised by one of their client couples. They are almost always offered an open adoption, which is nothing more than a wink and an oral agreement, as far as the law is concerned. I'm ecstatic that you withstood all this and kept your baby. I wish this kind of pressure was illegal, no matter what the circumstances. Comment. I was divorced with 2 toddlers and pregnant. It was so hard making ends meet. I, too, heard all the negatives from people about being a single mom. I wouldn't be able to feed my kids, etc. It was frightening, and you're right, at times I wondered if things would ever work out. Did being a single mom really mean my kids would turn out like crap? A kind gal took me under her wing and made some recommendations and showed me ways that I could go to college and get daycare provided. I always put my children first and read to them constantly. Library books are free. This single mother raised some fantastic kids. All mannerly, kind, hard workers, intelligent, they all make good money, and one writes, one is a plant geneticist, one a nuclear engineer. I commend you for holding on and staying sane while going through intense stress with that woman. Many people would have caved in to her demands. You've done excellent with your daughter. I really do hate the misconception that single mothers can't raise a proper family. Please leave your story in the comments. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to get new update. Thank you.